Pulp MX Network production.
Bringing you a cheeky Brit and an American YouTube racing sensation weekly. It's the LVK More Than Moto podcast with your hosts, Phillips and Kellen Brauer.
Welcome back, everyone, to another Leatt LVK More Than Moto podcast. I am Kellen Brauer, joined by Phillips. Apologies for a slightly late upload this week, as you may have seen, or maybe not. I was on the Pulp MX show this week, so I was a bit busy. And then Lou himself was also quite busy. He's got some interesting storylines about the week that he's had thus far and the week that still is to come. So how are we, Big Lou? Because you're in a hotel room right now.
Yeah, I'm a beat reporter, Kellen. I'm on the ground, on the scene, you know, while you're up at home, chilling. No rest for the wicked in this case. In fact, I'm actually doing nothing today, except for one very important chore that we will get to later on. But no, I'm in Cali, and doing stuff.
You went straight from Glendale to Cali, right? Like, you haven't been home yet?
No, I wish maybe I could have planned this better. But yeah, I mean, also, to go to Florida, Glendale and Seattle were the two longest flights. So it kind of made sense anyway for me to stay out here, even without commitments. But yeah, came straight here. Leave tomorrow night to go to Seattle. So it's not that much time to kill. I was busy all day yesterday. So,
and tomorrow's a big day. Big day. We'll go over it at the end of the show, but big day for Big Lou tomorrow.
The only teaser we'll give is I didn't sleep last night.
Stop it.
We are in the tossing and turning and what have I done and what am I doing phase.
You've been fine. You're going to be fine. Yeah, so we'll get into that at the end of the show, but how have you enjoyed your stay back in California, at least so far? Anything exciting been going on?
I could have better utilized my time. There's an LA Fitness next to my hotel. Never been to an LA Fitness. Actually, no, we can't talk about this now because people don't like this off the top. So on the show.
So let's just move right into the show.
So if you want my LA Fitness review, stay tuned.
All right. All right. Before we get into our first topic, of course, I got to tell you guys all about Leatt. Leatt Protection is in our brand DNA. It started 20 years ago with the groundbreaking Leatt neck brace and continues today with an extensive product offering of protective gear and riding apparel. But what Leatt really stands for is inspiring confidence and ensuring safety with every ride. Again, be sure to visit Leatt.com and check out all their 2026 line of gear. Great stuff to be had out there. And Justin Hill, carrying Leatt gear to the first top 10 in 450 Supercross this season. Quietly so. Justin Hill back? Question mark, Lou?
Well, his gear was back because it was arguably his best look of the season. I feel like Leatt maybe need to put a squeeze on Justin Hill to promote them a tiny bit more. Or maybe at all. But that's just my expert opinion from the sidelines. But no, that was great for Justin Hill. Congrats to him. All the best.
It's interesting because obviously Leatt was like a team sponsor for Hep Suzuki, well, specifically Twisted Tea Suzuki, but like kind of not now because they only have one rider that's repping the team brand. Like Jason worked out his own separate deal somehow.
I think Colt ended up doing his own deal with Leatt.
Okay, really interesting.
Because when I was talking
it hasn't been a team deal until this year. So
a little behind the curtain. I was trying to do a deal for a rider with HEP last year for 2026, and one of the first topics that I approached was, will said rider have to wear a team gear deal? And I was told, no team gear deals next year. So,
can I ask if this said rider has been learning Portuguese? Is he getting any better at that?
Well, now you're testing my geography, but presuming that they speak Portuguese in Brazil, then yes.
Okay. Yes, they do. All right, let's get into our first topic of the day. It's kind of, I guess, a rehash of what you were called into Pulp this week to discuss. Basically, you were involved in I Don't Know Man on Pulp, and we were I Don't Know Man Max Anstie. But I do want to collaborate this with I Don't Know Man Levi Kitchen a little bit too, because we're 5 rounds into this championship, and they're 4th and 6th in points respectively. And as I said on the show this week, and I feel like you agree, but maybe you can fight back with me on this. They've both very much underperformed, and you could say Levi's thing has been bad luck, crashes, whatever you want to call it, but it's in a way his own luck that he's made for himself. And on the flip side, Anstie has been a shell of himself really since San Diego. So it's kind of odd that two guys that I think everyone kind of universally agreed, even if you thought Deegs was P1 by a mile in this championship, I would have expected a lot more out of Anstie and Kitchen in this championship fight, and we've got nothing, and we got a glimpse of how good Kitchen could be this weekend. But other than that, it feels like it's been kind of a dud across the board.
Yeah, well, you saying that you expected more from them both goes without saying. I don't think that's even a take everyone would have. But, I mean, the first way to go with this is let's not forget that I sat on this podcast to start the season and said that the podium will be Deegan, Kitchen, Anstie 9 times out of 10. And through 5 rounds, we haven't had it once. So, great work by me. I recommend everyone turns off now, because clearly I don't know shit. But, to me, the Max case is more curious than the Levi case, because the Levi situation just seems like a shit show. We've got whole shot device problems and just weirdo stuff across the board. So it just seems like one of those years for Levi, where it's like all bets are off, all expectations are off. Who knows what is going to hold him back next? Whereas Max, starting the season so strong, immediately sets an expectation which he has been held to every week since. Kitchen's never had an expectation set. And yeah, to be honest with you, I don't think for either rider, I don't know if what they do from here on out really changes the outlook on their season. I mean, I guess Max won, Anaheim won. So if Max wins out or wins a majority of the races, maybe you do then look at him as like, wow, he won a lot that year. But for Kitchen, I think even if he were to win out or win a lot of the majority of the remaining races, I think you ultimately just look at it as like, how did we end up here?
Yeah. Let me ask you this, because you obviously know Max quite well, and you've covered his career quite extensively coming from GPs, and you guys almost came to the U.S. together, more or less. I think you were 1 year after he came here full-time?
No,
2.
quite a bit longer.
2? He came in 2020, and you were here in... Oh, you were here in 23, huh? Was your first full year?
Yeah.
Okay, so a couple of years. But I was looking at his GP results, and I guess I didn't really remember it this way, but he's definitely had moments over his GP career, particularly in MX2, where he would go on quote-unquote a run. Like he would just start firing off 2-1, 2-3-1. And then I noticed that after that, and granted, I'm sure I'm missing a weird nagging injury or some bike issues or something like that, but he would have those runs and immediately followed it up with like 8, 7, 9. You know, like we would just run into this weird cliff out of nowhere. And I'm curious if you can give us insight, is that something that is a norm, or is this year to you such an anomaly?
This is an anomaly because this is really bad. Like, he should not be battling with Avery Long for 4 laps. Under no circumstances, with all due respect to Avery Long, that should never be happening. But it is true that throughout his career, he has been either on or off, and there's not really been a middle ground, for reasons that I and many others cannot explain. He definitely rides the wave of confidence, momentum, positivity. I think that definitely bears on him maybe more than some. For instance, I think that when he walks the track and sees big whoops, I think that his day is set. And it's the most amazing day ever because it just flicks a switch. And I think that maybe the opposite is true as well. So, but then in contrast, Anaheim 1 didn't have big whoops. So I don't know about that either. But it is true that he has been a little inconsistent and a little bewildering throughout his career. I mean, even remember Matterley Nations, part of the storyline there was like, where did this come from?
Oh,
and
yeah, 100%.
Going into the next year, it was he can win the championship. Like, it's Caroli, Hurlings, and Anstie. And then it wasn't. But then it was again, because suddenly he then started getting podiums in a row. So there's never been a steady run of results, and like, I guess he's never been reliable. Let's put it that way.
Well, okay, so I feel like you can almost attribute that and what you said to like a mentality problem of some sorts. And as you did after the race with your interview, you brought up, or he brought up, that he wasn't sure whether or not he turned on his start map. And he thought about that like basically right before the gate dropped. And then you basically were like, oh man, we're not focused enough going to the gate. And he kind of shrugged that off. So Do you feel like that is it? Like it's literally just a mental thing? Or is there other factors at play here that maybe like he's just not leading on about?
No, I mean, yeah, forgetting to do your start map, I think that is a case of you need to lock in, sort yourself out. It's no different to like, if I go to the gym and I forget to do creatine before I go, which is kind of my routine, and then I get to the gym and I realise I'm like, fuck, like, what are you doing? Like, you need to sort yourself out. So I do believe that's attributed to that. But no, like I can tell you now, there's no injury, there's no practice crash, there's no example of any of that. I think it's just progressively going downhill, and that momentum is hard to stop.
Well, the only reason I bring that up is because, as you mentioned in your interview as well, he's testing, doing a lot of testing, trying to find this, trying to find that. And it's not like any of these first 5 tracks have been wildly different, but how would he go so far off of whatever his base was that he had at A1 that helped him win to get to the point now where we're testing so much during the week that he's getting lost? I don't see how there's correlation there.
Because this is where I compare him to Chase. He chases a feeling. He thinks that there's this magical option out there that's 100% perfect, and every time this year, including Anaheim 1, when I talk to him afterwards, I'm like, "What are you going to do this week?" He's well, I think this can be better, and I want to like look at this, and I want to do this, and like so. He's always thinking, which is honestly maybe his greatest strength, and what would be the opposite? A weakness. He's always thinking, and sometimes that helps him. Like, there's been instances where he's gone to a setting quicker than Deegan or whoever else on the team in previous years, and because he's kind of already workshopping ideas and improvements. But then there's also the negative side, and I think that's what you're seeing now.
Okay. So in continuing to talk about trends, I want to go over to the kitchen side here for a minute, just because, look, in the past, particularly when it was on Star, there was a roller coaster, very noticeable roller coaster of 8, 7, 1, 8. Like he would just, I don't know, it was maybe more so he started somewhere and finished there more often than nowadays he can ride through the field a little bit better. But is there, I guess, something there as well where Kitchen, look, I get it this year. There's been a myriad of weird issues that have caused this. But you kind of have to look at the history as well and say, well, this isn't abnormal for him to have days where he is faster than everybody clearly or whatever, but also days where he just gets in his own head, doesn't get a good start, gets stuck in the field, etc., etc. So that's why I'm trying to draw like a comparison between the history side of Kitchen versus what we're seeing now. And I don't know that the results are any different, but maybe there's a different version of Kitchen that we're seeing?
I don't know. Kitchen's a curious one. Because, as regular listeners know, early in his career I felt like he was overhyped. I've now come all the way around to the fact that I really do believe in him, and I do see a lot of talent there, obviously. But I see a lot of potential, and I do think he can do great things, which is why I've been so adamant about the fact that 250s aren't working, just move on. Go to 450s, kind of set your base there and prepare for the future. Because I do believe in my heart that as of now, being in the 250 class isn't serving Kitchen at all. Now, of course, the elephant in the room is Deegan is leaving, and that could open the door for Kitchen to win the next couple of titles, and then suddenly his entire 250 career looks like a resounding success. I think, to your point, based on history, that's not a sure bet. It's not as sure a bet as it should be. So, I think that I would advise you just forget about that. Because even, like, yes, he's been up and down, but fair to say that his upside has more often than not come in Supercross, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Like, does he have more than... How many outdoor wins would he have? Couple? 2? 3? 4?
Yeah. I think
No
he has,
more
like,
than 4.
more moto wins. I think he has more
okay.
moto wins than, like, overalls, and that's the difference.
Yeah, so, like, going into outdoors, the feeling that I cannot shake is Supercross hasn't gone well. I don't know if outdoors is necessarily a rebound. And you could apply that to Anstie as well, because he's not really been good outdoors since he got on the Star bike.
Yeah.
I know that Anstie had some options after this weekend, but has opted to put his all into outdoors and test more than he has in recent years with injuries and whatnot, just to like figure out outdoors and get his outdoor feet back under him, because that has now become a priority. So yeah.
Yeah, so to you, it seems more like you're more of the opinion that Max is there's like a bigger problem to fix with Max. Like obviously kitchen outdoors is also going to be a bit of a question mark. But to me, I look at both of them and I feel like it's almost the same thing. Like if we came into this championship and you told me 5 rounds in, one of them will be 30 points down and one of them would be 39 points down, I would look at both of them as like equally something has gone terribly wrong.
Oh, I would presume that they have missed a race.
Right.
Or DNF'd a race.
So to me, like, I get it that we know a little bit more about both sides of the coin here. And admittedly, Kitchen is, I guess, getting better. Like, he was pretty fast the first 2 weeks. He just crashed in the first corner. But his starts have been a little bit better. You could say at Houston, they were definitely better. This week, but then he was able to fly through the field a lot easier. So, like, there's progress, I think, with Kitchen. And I guess maybe to your point, Anstie's going the wrong way. So that's maybe the biggest issue at play here.
Yeah, but is there progress with Kitchen? Because as you say, he's ridden well the entire time. The issue is the starts, and they aren't really improving. So, I don't know. I mean, I think that the way that Glendale went has led there to be a lot of upside when viewing Kitchen. But ultimately, it's the same old problem. And on press day, he repeatedly said, yeah, we figured it out. I'm running stiffer forks than ever. My whole shot device was lower than ever. So that combination just meant it was getting stuck. But we figured it out. Mitch said the same. And then I still don't know if it was a whole shot device in the main, but another bad start. Another awful start. It wasn't bad. It was terrible. Yeah, we're just going round in circles. And then now he's saying that he used to be able to just dump the clutch, pin it out the gate, and it would work. And now there's more.
Yeah.
He's got to think about it more, and there's more techniques. So, like, equally, what you said about Max and testing every week, I think you're in the same spot with Kitchen and Stars. Like, what are we doing? Just figure it out. Come up with a routine and do it.
I was literally just about to bring that up of what he said in the post-race media scrum because, yeah, like I said that to Phil on the Pulp Show, and Phil was just like so mad that these guys have no feel for starts. And he was like, to me, starts are the easiest thing to repeat and do and be consistent with. And these guys are so up and down and hit and miss. And it blew my wig back when Kitchen said that his entire career, including amateurs, all he's ever done is rev it up to the stops and dump the clutch. And I'm like, how has that worked? Like, how has that gotten you to this point? Because I just don't think that that's like ever been a successful way to get a good start. You know?
Yeah. In contrast, I would really like to know what Deegan did to improve his starts after rounds 1 and 2. I mean, he's never going to tell us because you can't get a straight answer, but I would be interested to know.
Well, okay, so let's talk about Deegan because, look, clearly he is the best guy in this class. Like, I don't think anybody can disagree with that. And I know people are going to once again get mad in the comments at the fact that we are suggesting that Anstie and Kitchen should be closer to Deegan is a knock on Deegan. And to me, that's not it at all. Deegan has outperformed what I even expected for him this year and found a different level in Supercross for sure. And his starts are massively better, as you mentioned. Could the start thing simply be as I don't know, as simple maybe is the right term here, as simple as because they changed the start block heights and he used to run those ones really tall, almost to the foot peg, that has been something it took him just a couple rounds to get used to? Because it like his starts weren't great, but it wasn't like
he still had the tall ones at A1, didn't he?
I don't know. I thought that they
I thought the smaller ones came in for Anaheim too, but maybe not.
Well, maybe then that's it, right? Maybe he was still testing with the old start blocks. Or it's maybe even as simple as he did so many starts on a 450 from October to early November, and it just took him a minute to get his wits back about him in a race trim on a 250.
Well, I don't remember exactly, but from memory, I don't believe his starts in WSX were stellar either, and then 2025, he was never the best starter, so I don't know. But anyway, I think, I honestly think the 250 class, partially because of Deegan's dominance and amazingness, just to put that out there before the people come for me, the nut jobs, as I like to call them. I don't think bedbugs is aggressive enough. And partially because Kitchen and Anstie are underperforming. This class is a fucking tough watch. It really is. And to be honest with you, now I'm thinking we probably shouldn't have started with it because I don't think anyone cares anymore. It's a tough watch. It's like watching a dog die. Just slowly. And like, you're like, oh, I wish this would end.
Well, the only reason I started with it is because simply it is the most confounding thing to me this year. I think the 450 class, in a way, has played out how we expected. Maybe less so for what Chase is starting to go through, but otherwise, 450 class is excellent, and the 250 class is a big WTF for everybody almost, except Deegan. So that's why we got to get through this at some point and figure out what the heck is going on there.
Do you need to do a sponsor read before the next topic?
I would like to, but if you have something that you would like to bring to attention.
Well, no, I think this is going to be another topic. So you do your sponsor read, and then I'll jump in.
Well, let me tell you guys about Partzilla. Partzilla.com is the premier OEM parts dealer and distributor. They sell OEM parts for Honda, Kawasaki, Polaris, Can-Am, Suzuki, Arctic Cat, Sea-Doo, Ski-Doo, and Yamaha motorcycles, ATVs, PWCs, and snowmobiles. Visit Partzilla.com to see their extensive line of parts and accessories. And, of course, PRMX a bit on the tough road at the moment. Cade Clayson broke his collarbone in Houston. He'll be out for a little bit. And then Anthony Bourdon broke both arms, right? I think I have that right.
Yep.
So that's a bummer for him. But they did draft in my guy, Logan Leitzel, to race for the team this weekend, and I believe next weekend as well. And he just missed the main event. He was in a transfer spot in the heat race, then got bumped out late, and then was battling for the final spot in the LCQ and just missed it. So we were close. We got a lot of TV time at least.
Sad news is this is the first weekend when I didn't go by and check in with PRMX, and I know that's a requirement from you, Kellen. I do that every week, so I'd like to apologise for that. And
you got to apologise to Julian.
Weekend.
You don't.
4 out of 5 rounds to start the year is a strong start. It's really good, really impressive.
It is. How about Mitchell Harrison? Every week in the LCQ, but like solidly so. Every week he's in the LCQ, he's like either winning it or second.
Yeah, I almost feel like he needs to do a little more just because I feel like his routine is so predictable now that we're starting to not notice the fact that he's consistently in the main event and he's doing quite well, you know?
Yeah.
But then once again, Mitchell Harrison, like, fuck me. He was a factory rider and we're just still like, oh, he's consistently in the main event. Like, I still don't really understand how we got here, but never mind.
Okay, well, let's go ahead and continue with what were you hoping to discuss next, Big Lou?
Well, I was listening to the Paddock Pass podcast yesterday. Now, I don't know anything about MotoGP, but I do enjoy the camaraderie amongst the 4 co-hosts on this occasion. It's quite a nice little discussion to kill the time, whatever else. And they were talking about MotoGP's long-term growth potential, whatever else. Especially once Marc Marquez retires, whatever else. And one of the non-moto, obviously Adam Wheeler's on that, and he's a moto guy, but the others aren't. And one of the non-moto people raised, look how good Supercross is at the moment. Do you think we can ever get to the level of Supercross? Which, A, really shocked me, because I think we don't look at Supercross like that. I think we look at MotoGP as the next level, or whatever else. And then B, when they were talking about like interest in MotoGP and whatever, they said something which really applied to 2026 Supercross. And they said that they think that fan interest is fan interest is deterred when there's so many different winners, because there's no clear narrative and there's no clear storyline to dig into or attach yourself to. Whereas when one rider's winning all the time, it is, can he be stopped? Who's going to stop him? That's why you tune in. But when there's 7 different winners, which I guess they had in MotoGP recently, it's more, there's less to attach yourself to, so it's more, it's less engaging for the fans. And I kind of saw some area of applicability to 2026 Supercross, because it does feel like we are just going through the motions with different winners, and therefore not really making any progress with learning about what 2026 Supercross holds.
Okay. It's an interesting take. I understand where they're coming from, but as a core racing fan, I'd have to say I disagree. Just for the fact that you always want dramatic battles and you always want the ability to have multiple faces be in the mix. I get it that if you look at MotoGP and F1 when there's these titanic battles, Verstappen versus Hamilton, or Marquez versus Rossi, or Marquez versus Lorenzo, or any of those, that they're remembered fondly. But I feel as though when you're in the moment of those, as you can go back very easily and remember with Carmichael, and to a degree you can remember it a little bit with Dungey and Villopoto, when they hole shot and pull away, those are the most boring races ever. Like, those are the ones that people were walking out of the stadiums early. So I don't know how you can necessarily say that this is a bad thing when you have an opportunity to see a multitude of different winners every week, and maybe a championship that could go down to the wire between 5 different guys. Like, we look at 2011 as insanely fondly in Supercross history as anything, and it's because it was that much parity for who would win that title.
Yeah, and to be clear, I'm not saying this is bad, but what they said just really related. And I was like, oh, there's some carryover there. But I do agree in the sense of, through 5 rounds, I feel like I've not logged on to LVK and had like a pressing question or whatever else, because it's almost at the moment we're in the phase of spin the roulette wheel and see who's going to win next. Everyone gets one, you know, like so like, I do feel like there is a need for there to be some sort of, I mean, I think I used this analogy before. It feels like the storm clouds are there and the tension needs to break with a clap of lightning. That's what I feel like we're waiting for. And I don't know what that necessarily would be, but I would argue that we're still in Anaheim 1 phase of not knowing, which is, of course, great in comparison to last year because Tampa was round 5, and by that point, we'd lost Tomac, we'd lost Jet, Malcolm had already got a win, so we'd already gotten into the weirdo winners, and effectively after round 5 was when it was Coupe versus Chase, and that's when we settled into that narrative. So this is better by comparison, but I do think there is a need just for there to be a lead narrative to emerge. I don't know.
Well, I mean, I can agree simply with the fact that when you have 2 guys going at it and there's tension and drama, and somehow every week they find each other at the front, that does create a better storyline. I mean, everyone's going to go back to Stu versus Reed 2009. It was incredible. They would get to the front so fast, even when they didn't get good starts, and they would pull massive leads.
It's true, but the dirty little secret of that season is Stu won 85% of the races. Yeah, 90% of the races. Yeah, you don't remember it like that. On paper, that's actually a really boring season. So there is some truth to the concept.
It would have been a boring season if Stu had won A1 and pulled out a 30-point lead pretty quickly. But I think that really the best racing comes for when you have just enough parity involved that it keeps championships close. And we had that last year with Webb versus Sexton going to the line, and arguably the fastest guy maybe didn't win the championship last year because he was constantly doing the chasing because he dug himself his own hole a little bit. And I think that's exactly what we got with Stu versus Reed. Like, James crashed at A1 and had to dig himself out of a massive hole, and then he kept crashing again once he almost got back to the point where he could control this championship. And I think that that's what has created some of the better Supercross seasons of all time, is when you have maybe the best guy not always find ways to win, and other guys get in there and mix it up. And I feel like that's almost where we're at with this season so far. Kind of wanted it to be another topic. The fact that Hunter and Kenny, in my opinion, at least in history, have not proven to be the best guys. They've not, Hunter has not won a 450 championship yet, and Kenny hasn't won one for a decade. And so all of these other guys that are having to do the chasing right now are the ones that have recent history of success and recent championship success. And it's going to be really fun, in my opinion, if they all stay healthy, to see how that works out. How the recent champions, the ones that are carrying the most success, the ones that are the winningest riders over the past handful of years, figure out how to beat the 2 guys in front of them that have found consistency and been able to put themselves at the front of this championship.
Yeah, we can sleep easy at night because we know that ultimately the top 2 in the championship aren't going to be the guys to run away with this. So we can rest knowing that a runaway isn't on the horizon. And I agree on the Racer X review show. I can't remember who said it and who disagreed, but I do agree with the notion that if I'm Tomac, I'm most concerned about Webb and Sexton and Chase with Coupe and Tomac and Coupe with the other way. Like, I don't think that any of those riders have Hunter or Kenny at the top of their list of concerns, which is a nice setup, because if it was still Tomac at the top and then Hunter and Kenny as sort of a buffer, that really changes the outlook, because using just context, you look at it and you go, well, I don't know if you can bet on Hunter and Kenny being there, so you just kind of count the gap from Tomac to fourth. Whereas now, we've almost got like an inter-championship battle from third to fifth.
Yeah. Well, that's what I think is so cool about this. And I don't necessarily look at it as they've been focusing on each other, thinking about each other. But if you look at history a little bit, I feel
I think they have been, but they would.
No. But I'm saying, if you look at history, if we go back to 2011, for example, Villopoto wins that championship by 4 points, 2 points, something crazy at the end. And I feel like you can very easily draw a conclusion that to some degree, James and Chad spent too much time thinking about each other on the track, because eventually Chad took James out. James got mad at him. They went toe-to-toe. Then James took Chad out later in the season. And in a way, maybe less so with James, it cost both of them really enough points to win a championship that season. And I think that is something that we can almost look at maybe starting to trend in direction a little bit this year, where they're letting these guys get a lot of points, not necessarily because they're focusing on each other, but it's just because there's other players that are bubbling up to the top to actually make this thing interesting than the ones that they have probably expected to in the past. And, like Kenny, for example, on the Pulp Show was like, I don't even think about the championship right now because it is such a roulette wheel, as you said. Like, I could lose a lot of points next week, or I could gain a lot of points next week, because there's so many different players that could get involved here. So that's what I think is great about this, is that really there is a small chance someone runs away with it, but everyone's so close together that I don't see it happening.
Yeah, but I do also agree that a knock-on effect of that is right now we're in a little bit of a waiting room, a holding phase, just waiting to see what breaks first.
Yeah. I mean, I think that the unfortunate thing about this season, really, from a global perspective of Supercross, is that we have been fed, or have been feeding the general public, the narrative that Jet Lawrence is the best rider in the world for the past 4 seasons. And he's not on the track right now. And so instead of the term hashtag who's next, which we got in 2015 when Villo went to GPs, we've kind of got a like, well, what if Jet was here? Kind of feeling to it a little bit, like would he have already taken this thing by the reins? And that's kind of where it hurts us, because when in MotoGP, Marquez gets hurt early in a championship, you kind of forget about the fact that guys like Johan Mir and other names like that have won MotoGP world titles because Marquez was hurt, or something along those lines. So I think that's the biggest problem for us, is our biggest superstar in 450 competition is not on the racetrack right now.
Yeah, and arguably you would say it wouldn't be any better if he was there. If anything, it would probably be more boring. Right. But maybe that would add excitement of who would stop him. I don't know. I mean, maybe. It certainly would be putting a worse spotlight on the championship, because Chase's problems would be magnified because the gap to Jet would be bigger than what it is currently to Hunter, and Eli's crashes would be magnified because blah, 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 and Coop's bad start. It would all be magnified. Jet not being there has somewhat saved us from losing Eli, Chase, or Coop from the title battle early.
No, 100%. But yeah, I like I said, I can agree with when you don't have that superstar and who's going to knock off the superstar. It does detract it a little bit. I mean, it happens in every sport. Who's going to beat Tom Brady in the Super Bowl, and who's going to beat Michael Jordan in the NBA playoffs, and you lose that big name, and it detracts from it a little bit. So
I will say though, I feel like I've heard barely any Jet mention through 5 rounds.
Well, that's because
it's never come up in the press box. It's never come up as a conversation on text. It's not really been referenced.
Well, because we're in it, man. Like, we're living it. Like, I think you would probably be surprised how many like more general fans come to the races and are surprised not to see Jet there, and that's maybe a reflection on how casual the sport can be at times. But I think that's probably true, that there's a lot of people out there that think are confused why he's not on the racetrack. So,
yeah.
Yeah. I want to just take this topic, though, and jump it into a similar topic that I had from it. So I'm going to wait to do another ad read because I want to have a continuation of this. So Hunter and Kenny are 1-2 in this championship through 5 rounds. Hunter hasn't won a race yet, and now Kenny has his first win. History has shown that Kenny can't go the distance in these 450 title fights. He's usually going to fall off at some point. But we don't know that with Hunter necessarily just yet, because this is really only his, kind of second full season of Supercross, if you will. He missed almost all of last year. After round 5, he was gone. So who do you have more faith in right now, with 12 rounds to go, that they are going to be in this thing by Salt Lake City?
It's ridiculously hard for me because I view them both as the same person in every context. Ask me who's going to win more races, I view them the same. Who's going to be in it, I view them the same. And I don't know why, because there's not really a reason. And the results kind of lean that way, because up until Kenny's win, they were both just kind of podium merchants. But, yeah, they're the same to me. They are literally the same person. And I am less so negative on Kenny for the long term. I'm kind of not reading into the past too much. Yeah, they're the same person to me. But I guess maybe I would go Kenny, which I think is controversial because I think Hunter is the safe bet.
Okay, so why is history not affecting your decision with Kenny right now? Like, what is different to you this year about Ken Roczen that you feel, okay, this is finally the year we're going all the way?
Mainly because Jet isn't there, and Chase, Coop, and Eli have had problems. So that helps Kenny's situation.
But you can go back to times in history here where Kenny has had a similar gap over Eli or Coop or whatever championship points-wise. Like, he was the points leader halfway through in 2020. He was the championship leader at round 8 in 2021. So he's gone far into the season still having this success and still holding the red plate and battling for the championship. But for whatever reason, the second half has been his kryptonite. And so why do you think that this year that will be different?
I don't necessarily. I'm not picking either Hunter or Kenny as my championship favorite. Not even close. Like I said, it's Tomac, Coop, and Chase in my mind. I'm just looking at it in a vacuum, comparing it to Hunter, and Hunter is unproven, whereas Kenny, to an extent, did prove something to us last year. I mean, yes, there was still a bit of a drop-off, but if he can just improve on that by 10%, then it's better, whereas Hunter is just an unknown commodity. So, yeah, I mean, but ultimately, I don't really back either as a true title contender above the former champions in the field, let's say.
Let me tell you why I think Kenny can go the distance this year, and maybe you'll be able to call me stupid from this. I don't know. But, and I kind of asked him this on Pulp on Monday, this is, to me, the first time, really, where Roczen has looked this stable, this steady early in the championship, because, yes, he was still close in the championship last year, but then the Tampa thing totally threw a wrench in that. And then pretty early in his first 2 years with Suzuki, he would run into some weird races, weird struggles that would put him on the back foot from a points perspective. This is the first year since Roczen has kind of committed to Supercross only and done away with going outdoors and having to do bike changes and really just being able to take the summer off, focus on WSX, do some off-season races, and then come in with a whole head of steam for Anaheim. I think that he is in a zone on this bike and has enough stamina, if you will, from not having been worn down of seasons past, to go 17 rounds and be comfortable on it at every single race. And I think that he will still have bad races, but I've never felt as confident since maybe his arm injury that Roczen has everything about Supercross figured out that he wants, because even the last couple of years when he's had weirdo moments, he's still been pretty strong in the second half. He's been battling for wins in the second half of the seasons. Like, he won Daytona, which was the midpoint last year. And I just have this weird feeling that he's still going to be in this by round 14 and start to find that zone again.
Yeah, all makes sense. But again, it's less so. What you said about Kenny and the bike is true, but more positive of a reflection on Kenny is the fact that that isn't true necessarily for Chase or Eli, although Eli's been very happy so far, but who knows what's coming. And Coop's also gone back and forth a little bit. tested starts this week, which he was adamant he didn't need to do. So that makes me more positive about Kenny's situation. I'm not necessarily looking at Kenny in a vacuum. I'm more looking... Well, actually, I've just contradicted myself because I said I was looking at Kenny and Hunter in a vacuum. But in the context of what you just said is fueled positively by the situations of his competitors.
Okay. Let's go over to Hunter then on the flip side. You can draw a case the last 4 weeks why he coulda, shoulda, woulda been the race winner. Definitely Houston. There's a glaring example if you take one little weird crash away and he wins that race. Why do you think it is that maybe there's still a little skepticism about his, ability to go toe-to-toe with these guys just because he's never done it before?
Yeah, he's never done it title-wise, and he's never won a race. I think it would be very different if by now, round 5, he had won 1 or 2 races. Ultimately, similar to what I was saying about the field, we're still in a holding pattern with Hunter just to see him seal the deal. Now, he doesn't need to do that to win a championship. Again, the winningest rider last year didn't win the championship. But I think that although he's proven himself, there is still an element to prove. And once he wins a race, then everyone will kind of kick into gear and go, okay, Hunter, he can do this. Whereas I think that there was so much positivity about Hunter after San Diego. And I think now replaying the same result, the same scenario 4 rounds in a row has somewhat devalued that spark. So now we're waiting to see him build upon it, which everyone after San Diego expected sooner.
I can agree that he should have won one by now. And speed-wise, he's definitely proven to be in the mix. And so the fact that he hasn't won one is a bit alarming. But then also, he's kind of played that down a little bit as we're still learning, we're still trying to get better, and he believes the wins will come. Lars said something quite similar to you, I believe, after the race about I don't care if he gets second the rest of the season, that could also win us a championship. So I feel like they're maybe downplaying the need for him to win races. But as you have said, and I agree, at some point, Eli, Coop, Chase, all of them are going to start hitting on a regular basis. And every week they are going to be up front, either winning or finishing second or third. And if you're Hunter and you haven't already established your footprint in there, which I think he's done a pretty good job of doing so, but he needs to start winning races to do that. There's every reason to believe that could be his detractor in the second half.
Yeah, makes sense.
So you think, though, Kenny versus Hunter, you have maybe a little bit, just slight more faith in Kenny going the distance.
Yeah, but again, equally, they are 4th and 5th on my list of title favourites.
But that's fun, dude. They're 1-2 in points right now. And
that's what I said. It's shaken out the best way. That's why I said that.
Yeah.
Explain this.
Yeah. What's the likelihood you think after this weekend, and it's going to be my next topic in a second, but after this weekend, because of the chances of mud and chaos and all that reigning supreme, that someone's really on the back foot after this weekend?
I don't think it looks that bad. I think it's just going to be normal Seattle, to be honest. I don't think it's going to be a mudder. I think it will just be normal Seattle. And I mean, Coop and Chase have gone 1-2 there in that order the last 2 years, so they seem fairly reliable. Maybe this is where you see Hunter fall a little bit, simply because less experience at Seattle on a 450, didn't make it there last year, and maybe the consistency, it could be a benefit, but also a detriment, because you might need an element of send it, So I could see Hunter falling off the podium.
I can agree with that. I think I have this feeling Webb wins this weekend.
Oh, well, that's just common sense. He's won the last 2?
I'm saying I have a feeling he wins this weekend and walks out of there, and we all walk out of there going oh, crap. Because he's going to have... He will, unless Eli has, a bad race, probably not overtake Tomac in points. But we all know that as soon as we go east, Webb is proven to maybe be a little bit better than Tomac when it comes to racking up points week after week. So, yeah, I don't know, man. All right, let me tell you guys about Alpinestars and the Tech Air MX. Of course, Alpinestars protects on board with us for the 2026 season, and their Tech Air MX is the leading chest protection system in the sport, it feels like at the moment. It is a sophisticated activation algorithm designed specifically for ruts, berms, jumps, and whoops to deploy when you need it the most. It is a fully autonomous airbag built into a compact chest protector, offering CE Level 1 protection on the chest and back, and when deployed, 4 times the back protection of passive armor alone. Be sure to visit Alpinestars.com and check out the Tech Air MX and all their protective racewear for 2026. Big Lou, Alpinestars, man?
Well, Kellen, I won't visit Alpinestars.com, but I will visit Alpinestars HQ immediately after we've done this podcast. Thank you to Alpinestars for hooking me up head to toe. There is a box sat there for me with every single bit of gear that you need, which is a testament to what Alpinestars can actually protect you with now. I've seen my order. Helmet, goggles, gear, gloves, knee pads, boots, socks, and more. So, yeah, Alpinestars really coming through for me. And I didn't choose my gear. They asked what bike I was riding. And they said a Kawasaki, and I said, no, a Yamaha. And they said, okay. So my gear will match a Yamaha, thank God. And I've actually been given one of Chase's pre-season gears. Because this is technically my pre-season. So,
is it that like blue to green up top one?
No. It's sand is the official color. I actually really like it. I really like it. Tech 7s, because I'm a very picky person, and Alpinestars had to accommodate. I'm not a fan of the inner boot. I haven't ridden in 11 years. I should say I was never a fan.
Tech 10s then? You're in Tech 10s?
No, 7s.
You were in an inner boot in a 7? Why?
No. I said
okay.
They said,
all right,
okay, we'll send you Tech 10s, and I said, meh.
No,
I don't like the inner boot.
Got it.
I never liked the inner boot. So they came through with Tech 7s. To their credit, they said, why don't you like the inner boot? And I said, I don't know, never got on with it back in the day. And they said, well, our technology has improved in the last 11 years. I was like, guess you'd expect that.
I agree with you. I don't like the inner boot either. And I've chosen sometimes to buy smaller Tech 10s and then take out the booty and just run it stock, basically.
Yeah, I never
so
considered
I don't recommend
that
you to do. But I don't like how the booty is so tight around your foot, and then when where it ends on the lower part, like just above your ankle, that space around your leg up until where the boot actually ends at the top of your leg feels like empty. Like it feels like you have something wrapped really tight around your foot and ankle, and then almost no protection until it's at the top of your leg.
I could never just get my fucking foot in the boot. If I put, I just couldn't do it. I don't know why. Not to make myself seem very incapable and very disabled, but I just couldn't do it. Could not do it. It was an absolute chore for me to get my foot in the inner boot and in the boot. And I don't know why.
Yeah.
But little tease, flow yellow boots.
Well, before we get to our post-show banter, which this will all include, I did want to ask you, as you mentioned, Seattle at the moment right now, weather-wise, actually doesn't look too bad. And they're getting in to build the track today. They had to delay a couple days because obviously the Seattle Seahawks won the Super Bowl. And so they needed the stadium.
To them. Well done.
Needed the stadium slightly longer. But Supercross is in today in Lumen Field trying to build this track quickly. It is dry at the moment, partly cloudy actually at the moment, and will be dry for the next 2 days. But I wanted to ask you this. We know it's going to rain Friday for sure. There's zero chance it's not going to rain Friday, so they won't ride the track Friday. It doesn't look too bad on Saturday. It looks like maybe a little bit of rain early, and then it'll go away. But Joey Savacci called into the Pulp Show, and a lot of people I've talked to are adamant that they should still build this track with some sort of thought process in mind that it's going to be too soft. The build isn't going to pack in well enough. It's going to rain, so it'll make it even worse. So maybe we don't build a big set of whoops, and maybe we don't build rhythm sections that are peaky rhythm lanes or something like that, which is basically what Joey was suggesting. So looking at the forecast right now, if you're rolling into the stadium, should they go all out, or should they still try to maybe tame this down a little bit?
Just do a normal Seattle. It's going to be normal Seattle. I really don't see any difference in the weather forecast or the outlook for the weekend. And I feel a little bit scorned by the concept of building an easier track because we did it in Birmingham in 24.
Yep.
And then it was bone dry and it was terrible. So, and again, how many Seattle mudders have we had over the years? Not that many. So history says it will be rutty, but fine. And they do typically make some modifications to Seattle to the track map for the soft conditions. Like last year, they took out a turn in the build, so I'd imagine they'll do stuff like that. And sure, like pat down the jump faces a little bit. I don't have it so peaky, and maybe they're not the biggest whoops of the season, but I don't see a reason to nuke the layout completely.
I feel like people in the comments right now are absolutely going to vilify you for saying not a lot of mutters in Seattle, because I feel like I can count like 7 in the last.
The last one was
years.
19.
18.
Okay, so we've not had a mutter for almost 10 years.
But it's rained like 4 of the last 6 years. It's rained on Friday or Thursday before and made it. Well, I don't know about fine. There's been some of those.
The difference.
Some of those have been really bad.
No, we haven't had a really bad Seattle in a while.
Dude, we've had ones where like they were like paddling through to do some doubles and stuff.
Yeah, in early 2010s.
No. I'm talking about like I think 21. No, we didn't go 21. 22. There was one where like they could only double stuff because of how soft it got.
I don't remember 22 at all. I actually have no memory of that at all. But 23 was quite hard packed. 24 was soft, but guys were still tripling stuff, and the same last year. So like the only factor that is of consideration this time is they're getting in today, Wednesday, to build. So the track won't be covered by Friday, presumably. Maybe it will. Maybe they work through the night and get it done. But the track won't have an opportunity to be covered. So maybe that is the crux here where it all breaks down.
What do you make of what Joey had to? I don't know if you listened, but Joey basically said like he wishes that they would listen to riders more often about this.
That's what Chase said in my
advance.
A2 interview.
Yeah, so it seems to me maybe Joey's one of one, basically, but it seems like many of the riders would have hoped they would tame this down coming in just for that exact reason. They could get tarps on it. It'd be too soft. The track is going to break down too much for things to be raceable, etc. So, but then as you're saying on the flip side, we might end up with a fairly decent racetrack by Saturday night or Saturday afternoon because it starts at 4.
Yeah, like even maybe it was 22. I've just had a memory. Maybe it is 22. There was one year where they only did one set of practices in Seattle because it was really muddy, and by night show it was still fine.
Yeah, I think that was 22. Yeah,
time and time again. If we've not got rain in the night show program, we're going to be fine. Yes, it'll be soft. So again, make modifications in light of it being soft, but you don't need to nuke the layout because it's not. You don't need to go mudder layout. Is kind of what I'm saying. I'm happy with a soft layout, but you don't need to go mudder layout. Is where I'm at.
Do you like though when it's ridiculously soft and the whoops turn into basically them just kind of paddling their way through? Because that's kind of what Joey's point was. It's like maybe we don't do that with the whoops, but then as you said with Birmingham, they turned into a tiny little double section. But then Birmingham dirt is so different, so maybe that's what Joey's suggestion was. Is like Seattle dirt is going to break down regardless, so maybe we just build rollers.
That does make sense. I mean, Birmingham was more hit or miss because if it was dry, it was just legit Supercross, whereas this will not be legit Supercross in any manner. But still, again, happy with a softer layout, but let's not nuke the track completely because I don't think there's a need for that.
I'm not saying nuke, but Joey's point was like Sweden, which a lot of people complained about Sweden, WSX, but Joey said he thinks they made that track way more raceable because they knew the dirt was going to be too soft to race competitively.
I think they made that track more raceable because they fucked up the dirt that they bought and they didn't know, and it came in late and they didn't really know what was going on.
Well, anyway, Joey gave them credit for basically making a bunch of singles that they could either jump or not jump, and it wouldn't completely ruin momentum. So that's what he liked about it. I'm not saying Joey's right. I'm just like
I don't think that this will be as bad as Sweden.
No, but it'll be soft. It'll be soft for sure.
Yeah, but soft like previous years, and we were fine.
All right. So don't nuke the track, but maybe make the whoops a little smaller? Question mark?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Yeah. Whatever they want to do. I'm fine with anything. I'm good.
I don't know, actually. I mean, I saw... Where did I see? Was it maybe Bree on the track crew this morning posted a video? And the dirt didn't look that bad that they're using. So maybe it's already been dry.
And it's a big point for Feld because they got so much shit for putting Seattle this early in the schedule. And it seems like Super Bowl aside is going to be a completely normal Seattle.
Which, by the way, for those that are still like, why the hell are we going to Seattle in February? This is all because of the World Cup, which is coming to the USA, and the qualifying rounds start in late March, early April here, and a lot of stadiums on the East Coast that they would normally like to go to. MetLife is one of them, and Seattle is also going to be one of them for the West Coast. So they can't come into Seattle as late in the season as they would normally like to because of the World Cup. And that is why we are this early going to Seattle.
I just got an email that Michael Essie is in for Team USA at the VMXDN at Hawkstone. And I'm here to say, throw the towel. Throw the goddamn towel, Mike. Like, I get, on my Instagram algorithm, I get videos come up that are like, hey guys, it's Mike. I'm heading out to bumfuck nowhere to race. Wah. Come and join us. And it's like, what are you doing? Like, first of all, why are you promoting this race in such a passionate manner? I sent you the one video, remember?
Yeah.
Yeah, that video has scarred me for life. Hair's a mess. Stop the bleeding. There's not necessarily bleeding. Just throw the damn white towel. It's over, Mike.
I don't know, man. He's racing. He's having a good time. Why not?
I just feel like... Should I say it? I'm going to say
Go for it. Let's hear it.
Would you not argue that his post-racing activities have kind of discredited his career somewhat?
I think his own career discredited his career.
Okay, well, in that case, then I guess it's fine.
Okay. I'm sorry. I like Mike. He's a decent dude, but for all the hype that was coming in to then do what he ended up doing in his career, like, I don't know.
Yeah, I think I should stop talking.
Okay. Yeah. So let's move into the post show, the banter. I feel like we need to have a post show sponsor. So do we start off right away with tomorrow, or do you want to? Is there some other banter you'd like to get to first?
No, I don't really have any banter. I've been low this week. I was low last week as well. Don't know what's going on.
No, am I a dick? You didn't cut someone off in the rental car line this week? Anything from the stadium?
I feel like there was something really bad.
How about you, and you got called out for this on the review show, how about you every year just going right into the VIP section for the buffet, making friends with the workers that are there so they'll give you food, taking food from people that have spent money on it?
So my friends, my normal friends, my college friends, always said I was a top blagger. Do you know what a blagger is? Is that an English thing?
I've never heard of that.
Blagger is like you blag something. So like, get a deal, blag your way in somewhere you're not meant to be. You know, you blag your way around, kind of thing. And because I've always been a top blagger. Like I can't remember. I remember once when I was in college, I went to the cinema with my friends, and something happened, and I managed to get all of our tickets for free, and it wasn't even hard. Just talked my way around it. Good. I'd be a good salesman, I reckon. I'm a good door-to-door salesman. I reckon I can talk my way around a situation quite well. So anyway, it's quite fun for me to do that. So the press box catering situation is a fun little challenge for me. And for context, the press box is fairly big, and it's roped off at a halfway point. One half for press, the other half is for stadium VIPs. It's nothing to do with Feld. And Feld said, because they've cottoned on to what I'm doing, they said, please don't associate with us when you're doing this. And also, it's $300 a ticket for food, essentially for a buffet. So it's become, I don't even necessarily want the food, but it's just become a fun challenge to see if I can make it happen, because Steve bigs it up, because Steve's never managed to get in there for some reason. So this year I was bored. I think 30 minutes before opening ceremonies, I'd done my pit roundabout, which is actually quite productive this week. Which actually remind me that I've got a topic on that. So they're putting the food out, and I'm like, you know what? I didn't eat for a while. I could do with some chicken, bit of protein. So I walked over. Credential first move. Credential has to go under the shirt because the credential is a giveaway.
Yeah, it is, of course.
Yes. So the credential goes under the shirt immediately. The VIPs have a wristband that I obviously don't have. So I immediately walk up to the security guard and go, oh, it looks like you've done a really good spread this year. I was here last year as well. It's kind of a annual family thing that we just come to this. This is our only race of the year and just go all out. And she's like, oh, really? I was like, yeah, I really enjoy it. You guys do a really good job. And she was like, oh, thank you. And I was like, is there any difference this year? Because you've got to build familiarity. So, any difference in the offering this year? No, it's mostly the same. You should try the brownies over there, though. Oh, thank you. I'll give it a go. So that's, in my mind, I'm like, she's giving me the cue to go in. So I just walk past her. And then from then, I've got a rapport. So every time I want to go in, I just walk past the security guard. Hey, having a good night? I'm having a good night. So being the good Samaritan that I am, I went there. I got 4 plates of food. Walked back like 2, and I went back to the press and I delivered it to everyone. I gave Sean and Joe, our failed PR representatives, I gave them a plate each. I gave Steve a plate. I got myself a plate. And it's just fun. I mean, am I a dick? Maybe. But it's also funny. I mean, it's not hurting anyone. It's just funny, isn't it? Good little game. What was best is, so there's an after hours thing of this. Between the 250 main and the 450 main, thought I'd go back over there and just see if there was anything new, because they do tend to put out some new stuff at the end. Different security guard came. They'd already cleared away the food. It was completely empty. Different security guard came up to me and went, this is a private party? And I went, doesn't look like much of a party. There's no food. And she went, well, it's not for you anyway. And I went, I've already eaten. And walked off. So they tried to stop me and it was too late. For some reason, they stopped me when there was no food. And I was like, well, you fucking idiot. You've ruined it. You've lost. You've already lost the game and you don't even realise it.
2 things that I don't understand with this. One, next year, your face is going to be like on a wall next to this.
Well, as I said to them, I'm there every year. It's my family activity.
Well, it's going to say, like, do not let this gentleman pass. It's going to be your mugshot.
Kellen, I'm 7 years undefeated. Steve can't get in there once.
2, I do not understand how anybody that's associated with that, whether it's the security guard or any of the people that would maybe need to check tickets or whatever, see you walk out of that area with plates and think,
yeah, to be honest
with you, weird, right?
When I loaded up 4 plates and even like had one like in the crest of my arm, whatever I don't know what you call that part. But like obviously I couldn't hold 4 plates, so I had to balance them on my arms. I did think at this point I'm kind of sinking my own battleship. Like I look so suspicious. But also at that point I was like, I don't want any more food, so I'm good. But no, it's become a little bit of a tradition. Even like I say, our failed representatives in Houston, they're like, you going to be having a buffet next week, Lewis? I'm like, sure will. Let me know if you want anything. I even said to them on Friday morning, I said, just to be clear, because I will be eating the Glendale VIP dinner, that shouldn't deter from the failed lunch. I don't want you guys to think that, like, oh, Lewis is sorted. So make sure the lunch is still of a good standard, because lunch and dinner are important on these days.
I feel like this is a low-key, am I a dick?
Yeah, it really is. People are going to be mad at this, but it's just funny. I mean, it's just funny. I'm not hurting anyone. And it's just funny. I mean, really, I don't even want the food, as I said. The only reason I do it is because it's kind of become a bit of lore, you know? Like, it's got a bit of hype behind it. So if I didn't try, everyone would be a bit disappointed.
Yeah. Okay, so from that, let's go into tomorrow, shall we? Let's talk about
So, preface for tomorrow, Alpinestars, not to call them out, but I will call them out, put in my order, or said what I said I need everything. Said, am I forgetting anything? And then I sent a text and went, oh, I see on your website you sell kidney belts. I need one of those. Explained. My Alpinestars contact replied, I'm not sending you a kidney belt.
Yeah, because our friend respects you too much for that.
So, in a similar fashion to the Glendale buffet, a winner finds ways situation, between practice and night show, I go into the Star Truck, climb up into the rider lounge, say to Max, how many kidney belts do you have with you? And he went, oh, let me look. He went, oh, I've got 2. I went, let me take one and I'll just bring it back in Seattle. You only need 1 for tonight. And he went, all right. And it's an Alpinestars one as well. So I got myself an Alpinestars kidney belt. However, I will not be wearing it tomorrow because as I'm walking away from start, I bump into Chase, kidney belt in hand. And I kind of went, I'm one step closer. And I've never seen him look so disgusted and disappointed in me. And in that moment, I really felt like the kidney belt needs to go.
Who cares? Just wear it, man. You don't need to take advice necessarily.
It's fine.
From Chase.
No, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
If you don't wear a kidney belt tomorrow and wash the front end out, I will be calling this out on you.
Wait. Oh, I think
okay.
I was trying to figure out how the kidney belt protects you from a... Okay, I got it. Yep.
Yep. Okay,
I've got Max's magical kitty belt. I'm going to be ripping.
For those that don't know what we're talking about, you and Chase have agreed to, at least mostly
Tentatively.
that you will be doing 2 30-minute plus 2-lap motos at Chambers facility in May? Right?
We have tentatively talked about the off weekend after Indy. So actually 1 month today.
That is fast.
Yeah, I know.
Oh,
I don't
boy.
really have much choice in the matter.
So you have a month to prepare for this because this is a job swap.
Mm-hmm.
Chase will need to do a podcast and interview you about your riding,
and he's going to interview some other riders.
Oh, okay, cool. And you have to do 230s in the heat. Well, it's not going to be that hot by that point in time, but you have to do 230s, which you haven't ridden, Lewis, in 11 years?
11 years. And what I failed to realise is I've not ridden in 11 years has kind of been my, that's the last time I rode. But then now it's dawned on me, before the time I rode 11 years ago, I had a year and a half off. So actually I've ridden once in 12 and a half years, which is actually a lot worse.
So, to kick this all off, tomorrow, we will be going to the daunting Glen Helen Raceway to see you on the bike for the first time in 11 years to begin day one.
I'm not going to lie. I'll be completely transparent. I am shitting myself. And I honestly, I regret everything. I don't know why I'm doing this. And this was my idea. I don't know why I'm doing this. I regret everything, and I'm not looking forward to it. I mean, I go in waves. I get really excited, and then I almost get too excited, and then I get sobered a little bit. And I'm like, what are you doing?
I think this will be fun. I think this is going to be awesome. And I will say this. I was asked...
Well, hold on. First of all, it's a tough day for the Has Lewis Ever Ridden a Bike crowd. Tough day for that crowd. But pour one out for them.
Here's what I will say about this, okay? I was asked 2 weeks ago, I believe, when I was doing a live stream, because people had found out about your job swap with Chase, and they were asking me if this is really going to happen, how's Lou going to do, and all this stuff like that. And I said, the unfortunate thing with all of this is you might do very well. You might last both 30s. You might ride considerably decent for 11 years off the bike. Decent. But listen, the unfortunate thing about this is you and I both know is you could ride really good and people will still be like, oh, that's the guy that's covering our sport.
And to preface that, I'm not going to be riding really good. My style looks like Ken Dyker doesn't know how to ride a bike. And I am not a good rider, and I've never been a good rider, and that's part of the reason I have no desire to ride. So the idea behind me putting the wheels in motion to ride tomorrow, I was already out in Cali this week because Cowie invited me to go and just hang out at their shop for a day, which we haven't talked about, but very good it was. Spent 5 hours with Bruce Sternstrom. I think he's I forget his title. Essentially, he's the Roger DaCosta of Kawasaki. Spent 5 hours with him, did a little podcast, learned a lot more about what Kawasaki has done, can do, spoke about Prado. Really, just like got some good insight for our reporting, which I think is important. And in a way, it feels quite weird that I did this, but this is very normal in F1 MotoGP. Happens quite regularly. So I feel like it was the correct thing to do, but I also knew that I would have Thursday free. So I actually, first of all, reached out to you, Kellen, and said to you, do you want to go riding? And the idea was me and Kellen go alone. Kind of grown a little since then. And now it's me, you, Steve, and Kiefer. But that's beside the point. To your point, yes, the reason I want to do this, the reason I want to ride tomorrow is if this goes horrifically bad, I'm not doing job swap.
Stop.
Realistically, it's going to go bad, so I don't really know why I need to see this, but I'm on the fence about job swap now because more and more people are telling me not to do it because it's not going to be good. Because ultimately, 50% of people would watch it and think it's fucking cool because I am I don't even know if you'd say I'm an average rider. I'm a below average rider, I think. If you want to say I'm an average local rider, I think that's a compliment. I think that's probably the level I could hope for. So I think it's fucking cool. Like, for a normal guy, not a Kiefer, or Give me another good media rider. Josh Moserman, like we know how good they are. So what does it really mean? Whereas for me, I feel like I'm quite relatable for just the average Joe out there. Of course, there's many average Joe who are faster than me and better style. So I think it's cool from that perspective. However, more and more people are saying like 50% of people are going to log on and think that's fucking cool, who cares? And 50% of people will be going on there to talk shit on me and to bring me down. So it's basically dependent on whether I care on what people think. And I think, as we know, I do.
Well, I think you shouldn't care because you should just do this for fun and do it for you and do it because Chase asked you to, which is a badass thing in the first place.
Yeah, and also I want to put out there. Steve is really on the like Lewis just copied us. This was not my idea. It's on record in an interview where it wasn't my idea. Like, why would I ever agree to this if it was my idea?
What I want to say about that is like, okay, so you brought up Kiefer, you brought up Moserman, and motorsports is very like specific about this. Where, okay, let's say you go to like motosport.com or any of these other places that cover the racing scene in general. The race. I don't even think the race has testers, but let's say they do. There's a difference. There's a difference between a qualified professional journalist covering the sport that went to college, that went to school, that got a degree, that understands the ins and outs of how to be a good journalist, which I think you are. And I would think of that myself, but a lot of people think, screw these idiots, they suck. Versus Chris Kiefer, Josh Moserman, who did not go to school, who are not qualified to be a professional journalist necessarily, but they are excellent at testing bikes, riding bikes, understanding nuances and differences about these motorcycles. And that's two different disciplines. So I'm just trying to preface this to people that are going to ultimately be like, oh, these idiots covered our sport. To you, that's different. Like you don't see Adam Schefter in the NFL going and taking a hit from a linebacker because that's not what he's supposed to be doing. And you don't see Ken Rosenthal trying to hit 100-mile-per-hour fastball down the plate because that's not what he's qualified to do. It's two different things of what a journalist does versus what a test guy does versus anything else.
What sucks for me in this scenario is like you see the F1 coverage, they'll do this and like the broadcasters will go out in an F2 car. Well, you sit in an F2 car and like you're quite hidden, like you just like it's not really clear to the naked eye what's good and what's bad. Whereas the bad thing about this is my style is fucking terrible. Partly because I've got long limbs and I'm all legs. I'm too tall and whatever else.
Shouldn't matter
so,
though,
like,
dude.
Yeah, and that's what honestly part of the thing. I'm really going back and forth on this because one hand it's bad, but on the other hand it's a proper once in a lifetime opportunity that not every media person
100%.
gets.
Yeah.
But then on the other flip side, flipping back to the other side, a close friend of mine in the paddock said to me, I wouldn't do this if I was you, because from what everyone's saying and what I hear in the paddock, you really have built yourself in America to the point you were in MXGP. Like, people respect you. I think a lot of people view you as the best journalist. Like, I think you've climbed and kind of conquered the mission a little bit. And this could bring it all back crashing down. And that's playing in my mind. Because I'm like,
Honestly, fuck them. To be honest, like, I don't think you should worry yourself too much with that because I think at the end of the day, you're going to have a majority of, like, the top guys that you deal with on a regular basis, like, just think it's awesome or hilarious or whatever, and they're not going to disrespect you for it. There's going to be like, that's cool that you did it.
Yeah, I mean, it's annoying because I actually really want to do it for the gym stuff and that. I think like I like road biking and I like gym, so I'd actually really like to do it from that perspective because I think it'd be really cool. That's just the riding part, but obviously you've got to do that. I think what everyone said to me is the people who are naysayers, they're like, if you're going to do this, you just have to poke fun at yourself. And I think I'm good at that. I think the English in me is good at that as well. So even like, let's say I go on press day the next time and Coop says something. I don't say Coop because I feel like Coop's been quite back and forth with me in recent interviews. I feel like I'd be quite good. Like, for instance, this past weekend, it was funny on press day. I said to Coop, yeah, I heard Rich Simmons say that like they had to get on you for the whoops, and I'm surprised. Because like I feel like you've been quite good in the whoops this year. And he went, nah, mate, I'm shit. And I went, yeah, you're right. I must have been watching someone else. I'm quite good at, I've got that talk shit banter sort of in me. So I think that will save me a little bit, but I don't know. All comes down to tomorrow, to be honest. And I've got some friends who hadn't ridden in a long time, not as long as this. My brother had bought a bike last year. Also chose to buy Alpinestars for the sponsor plug.
Did you make him pay
and
rent?
he hadn't. Huh?
Did you make him pay rent for the bike?
He bought the bike himself, Kellen. That's a terrible joke. You misplaced the. But anyway, so he hadn't ridden in 7 years, and he was a much better rider than me. Like, he raced national championships, like schoolboy in England, and even he's repeatedly told me, like, this is going to be miserable. Like Glen Helen, like, you don't understand how hard it is to get back on a bike after that long, and like everything feels so foreign, and like just down to like the intricacies of shifting and like it doesn't come back as easy as you would think. Or some would say I never had it in the first place, so how can it come back? Yeah, I am. Anyway, Glen Helen, I'm nervous. Raining
Can we
today,
get away from
that's not helped.
Dude, the rain's gonna make it so much better. Glen Helen is garbage when it's just dry and windy.
But you don't
and
understand
all that
the Southern English people who are listening to this, if there are any, the Mid Sussex, East Kent, Portsmouth gang, lot of hard packed, slick tracks out there. So like that's my forte. Golden Barn on a summer's day. We're talking like St. John level of blue groove.
That's not even why Glen Helen gets bad when it's dry, though. It's not about it gets hard packed. It never gets hard packed at Glen Helen. It just gets shitty and choppy and not loamy and yeah, in general, not fun. But rain helps it, dude. It helps it tack up the dirt a little bit more and ruts hold better. And no, it'll be good. So let's get away from the negative side of it for just a second and talk about the positives.
I don't really know how to get away from the negative side of life.
What are you most excited for tomorrow? Don't tell me gear. I don't want to hear gear.
Two things. One, tough day for the Does Lewis Even Ride crowd. Really fucking excited for that. Tough day. Which, by the way, you fucking idiots, all of you numpties in the comments, all you need to do is do a quick little search and find my Facebook page to find photos of me riding growing up. Like, not that hard. Anyway, one, tough day for that. Two, my setup is quite professional. My photo of me sat on the bike on Instagram, I'm expecting big numbers.
Oh my gosh, I said not the gear though.
That's not the gear, that's my Instagram.
But it's just, it's your kit. It'll be great
you
on
have to
Instagram.
see. So, flow yellow boots, as I said. Something that a normal guy... It's a fashion game. I'm big into the fashion of moto. No. Okay, let me say this. Probably attended over 600 races as media. So maybe over time, like maybe the spark of having access to all of this has maybe dimmed a tiny bit. I still think I've got it, but naturally. And likewise, now when I talk to Carmichael, maybe I don't feel the same, like, oh my god, it's Carmichael. But I will say something that is quite like cool to me is last time I rode, I was just a nobody, right? So the fact that I just messaged Alpinestars 6 days ago and said, I want to ride next week, can you help? And they were just like, yeah, sure. And just sorted me out with everything. Like, that is cool to me. That has put me back to when I started this job, because like that's something I never had. So like I do feel like quite like, fuck, that is cool.
Or that it took like one text to Kiefer and he's bringing a Yamaha for you to ride. I don't know. Like,
yeah, which actually we didn't mention that. Thank you to
Kiefer.
Kiefer. Thank you to Kiefer, because Kiefer is basically the one who's making this happen. He's bringing me a YZ250F, which all involved were just adamant that I shouldn't be on a 450. And actually, I should say thank you as well. When Cowie heard that I was doing this at Glen Helen through Chase, they did say, do we need to take a bike out to Glen Helen for Lewis? Thank you for that offer, but there's absolutely no way I'm having manufacturer support on day one after 11 years. I'm not going to waste your time. So, thank you.
I've been to enough test days with these guys. Like, they would have been awesome for you. Like, if they came out, they would have just been working with you all day long about what needs to feel better. Can we go out a couple clicks here?
I'm not good enough to feel things. Like, nothing feels better. It all feels horrible.
But they would watch you and come back and be like, it's too low in the rear. We got to do this and stuff. Like, so
that makes me uncomfortable.
They would have been great. I love the Cowie guys have actually, Cha and all the guys over there have been great. So
heavy embargo on this. You, Kellen, were selected as person one as a person of trust and a person of another word that's like trust. We had to bring Kiefer into the fold for the bike, but genuinely, I trust Kiefer. I think Kiefer's a very real person, like he's not going to make fun of me. I trust Kiefer. Steve invited himself, so I guess we trust him as well.
I'm coming too, yeah.
I guess if you're wondering why there's a Moto 60 show on Wednesday, it's because Steve wanted to be there for this. I don't know. Honestly, I think it's going to go terribly. So, funny part two. Spreading like wildfire through the pits. Get a message from Max between qualifying and night show. Yeah, my dad said he wants to go out with you and train you. No, I don't need Mervyn Anstie training, I don't think. I think that's taking it too far. And then flash forward to another person I'm talking to in the pits, like literally 5 minutes later, and they're like, why don't you get AC to go out with you? And I'm like, no, stop.
You're going to just have a whole entourage of people lined up there watching you ride and come off. How do you feel? What do you do?
Honestly, straight up, I'm less concerned by my speed when I ride. My style is terrible. Partly because of, I think, I'm a terrible rider. Partly because no confidence. And partly because of how tall I am. Because actually, I was looking at photos of myself. On an 85, my style wasn't that bad. It's gotten worse since I got a growth spurt. But anyway. Part of the reason I haven't rode is because I'm more concerned about my style than anything. Because it's not a good look. And we will be working on this tomorrow because I'm thinking I've forgotten everything. So fundamentals. That first time, I'm just going to fundamentally work on that. But I don't know. It's tough.
Okay, I know that you've been
scared.
I know you've been a bit nervous about Glen Helen, and I've told you it's not that big of a deal. Glen Helen's not that difficult. But on the flip side of this, what does current Lou say to, I don't know, how old would you have been in 2010? 14? 14-year-old Lou.
Lewis at his peak would have been scared at Glen Helen. Lewis, who's riding every week, would not have wanted to ride Glen Helen.
Okay, so what does current Lou say to 14-year-old Lou, who's at home watching the GP as Muscan pulls away from Ken Roxon, the GP of USA, Glen Helen, and you're like, man, this track looks massive. I want to ride there someday. Nope,
never thought that. Thought to myself, that track looks scary as fuck. Thank God that's not near me. Last time I rode was Budds Creek. That's scary. I didn't expect Budds Creek to be so fucking hard. Budds Creek really surprised me. And then the time before that was Majora in the mud.
You ever ridden a bike with an electric start?
No, I don't even know where that is.
So there you go. That's a new thing for you.
You can probably make a good TikTok of me trying to find where the electric start is. Never pushed the button. But I'm thankful for that because my last bike I had was a 2012 Honda 250, and for some reason I don't know why because I'm not technical. They were notorious, kickstart obviously, but they were notorious for being like a pain in the ass to start. I could not start the thing for the life of me. Like we were talking. I went down to the pegs, which was our staging. I went down to the pegs early because I couldn't start the fucking bike. Like we're. In fact, no, that's the wrong story. The bike was such a pain in the ass to start that I didn't go down to the pegs where you get your gate pick. I would just roll down with the bike already started to the line, last gate pick. Because I was like, this bike's such a pain in the ass. I want to eliminate.
You're going to sit there kicking it on the line over and over.
I can't be asked with the stress. I basically like my last race, I basically rolled in when a 15-second ball went up and then whole shot. My first and only whole shot in my life, fun fact.
Wow. And then you retired on top?
No, but anyway, yeah. If anyone had a 2012 Honda 250, I thought it was just me. But the more I asked around, everyone couldn't start them. So let me know if you couldn't start yours either.
All right.
But no, this is. I was reminded by this by my brother yesterday as well. So last time I properly rode was that race. Budds Creek and Majora, I would already stop riding. That was like jumping in. Last time I rode with consistency was that race. I was in the B group, adult B. So again, that gives you an idea of my level. Whole shot for the first time in my life. Incredible. Led a lap. Incredible feeling. Just amazing. Really just had it in. And then I couldn't hold on. And the last 4 laps, I was literally going around at a snail's pace because I couldn't feel my arms. And still was overshooting turns because my arms had locked up so much and I literally couldn't fucking hold on. And now that I remember that, I'm thinking tomorrow probably will be horrific.
It'll be fine. You don't have to put many expectations on it. Go out there, put a couple laps in, come back, rest, go out, put another lap in. Just
my
put
trainer,
expectations on it.
my trainer Mervyn Anstie said that what he would like me to do is he wants me to go out and just do a corner over and over, then do a section over and over. Doesn't want me to do laps until the end of the day, maybe. Wants me to just work on fundamentals in the sections. So,
all right. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing it tomorrow. I'm honestly looking forward to riding myself. It's been a minute since I've ridden too.
When did you last ride? A year? About a year, wasn't it? Exactly.
About a year. Yeah, probably.
And then like before that, another year. Like, what's your rough,
I was riding. I was riding pretty consistently, like at least once every month or two. Before that,
who knew?
Just because when I was at Racer X, I'd have to do so many shoots with Kiefer that we'd finish and I would ride. So
okay,
yeah.
Oh, so you're gonna blow my doors off?
Nah, I don't know. Whatever. Who cares? I'm not putting. There shouldn't be any expectation on it. We're just gonna go have fun and ride. Like
I don't do things that way. I don't know how to.
That's what always grinds my gears about this sport. Sometimes is that there's always like, oh, that guy's not fast. Who cares, man? We should all just be having fun. It's dirt bikes. So
my gear. Aluminous gloves, aluminous goggle frame, and then aluminous yellow boots. Very trick Chase-esque setup with the matching goggles, gloves, and boots. And obviously normal people like us, we would never buy aluminous yellow boots because
they don't go with anything after that.
Yeah. But Alpinestars, our good friends at Alpinestars, says they only want me to wear this gear once because they want to get me better gear supplemented for job swap. So. Yeah,
honestly, I think that your gear that's going to be sublimated when you're riding a Chambers facility, I think that needs to go up in Chase's little hall that he has there.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm scared. It'll
be fine.
You know
it's going to be great.
The meme of Mike Tyson walking into the Jake Paul fight. Was that Jake Paul fight?
Yeah. Yeah, whatever it
is. You know the meme of him walking in?
Yeah.
That's me tomorrow, driving to Glen Helen.
It's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. You're going to have fun. I'm going to have fun with you. And you're going to be surrounded by friends and people who want the best for you. So
there will be no photos or videos of me riding. Everyone has to sign an NDA.
Well, I will say, unfortunately, it's Glen Helen, man. And people might know that you exist. So
No. Don't tell me that because I won't fucking go.
Oh, give me a break. Who cares? All right. Are we done?
I don't want to.
Let's have some fun tomorrow. Let's have
I
some
don't
fun
do
tomorrow.
fun. I don't know how to have fun. Fun facts, part 3. All the years I was racing as just a local loser, the amount of times I heard my parents say to me, you don't have to do this if you're not having fun. Because I just was just so mad at how shit I was and putting so much pressure on myself to be less shit. And so I don't do fun. I do expectation.
Okay, great. Fantastic. Well, again, thanks everyone for tuning in week after week. We did almost a half hour of banter at the end of this show. So look forward to bantering with you again next week about everything that happens tomorrow and probably what happens a little bit in Seattle this coming weekend. Again, thanks to Leatt, Partzilla, Alpinestars for backing the show. Thanks to you guys all for watching. Final thought, Big Lou, you got something to say?
I'm scared.
See you guys next week.